Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Grand Rapids Town Board meeting on Tuesday, January 12th, 2021, 6 p.m. Town of Grand Rapids Fire Station. First item on the agenda would be the Pledge of Allegiance. Patty, would you care to lead us tonight?
I will, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Item 2, the approval of the agenda for the meeting.
I have something.
Is there a correction or what?
Can
Go
we
ahead.
move number 19 up on the agenda before because then the cameras will be gone and the public will be gone?
Can we move it?
Up on the agenda, before the closed session.
I think that's supposed to be for the closed session.
That's
though.
resulting from what you guys discussed in the closed session, so the motion you can't make a motion on it until after your closed session.
Because that's what's being discussed in 17. In closed, then we have to come out and open it to make a motion.
So it's never been in closed session before when we've discussed that. What makes us that we have to do that?
This is enclosed per Nick because it would be considered hazard pay is what I was told to put it as.
Mhm.
So that if you wanted to use that towards a hazard pay, that you could. That's why it's afterwards.
I mean, we obviously don't have to make that motion.
Right.
We can move it to the next month if that's the desire of whatever, so that it's on the camera. So I mean, there's no real
rush on it.
No, is there anything else on that? If not, we'll move on to item 3, which is approve the minutes from December 8th, 2020.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the December 8th.
Second.
Motion is by Dan and seconded by Patty. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Item 4, public comment period. People wishing to address the board limited to 2 minutes each. Public comment limitation to no more than 30 minutes. Anybody in the audience wish to speak this evening? Hearing nothing, we'll move to item 5. Monthly reports from departments. You have those in front of you again. And as a reminder, if there's any questions on them, feel free to contact the writer. Item 6, consider all possible action on resolution 2021-01, public depository listing. Those have been updated by Amber, correct? Or Amy, excuse me.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second it.
The motion is made by William, seconded by Dan. Just for the record, Lisa, would you read those into the record?
Wood Trust Bank, Associated Bank, Connexus Credit Union, U.S. Bank, Paper Cities Savings Association, BMO Bank, Prevail Bank, Valley Communities Credit Union, and Pioneer Bank.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Anybody opposed? No opposed. All right. Number 7, consider a possible action on Chief Peterson attending the Midwinter Training Conference, Wisconsin Dells, February 7th through the 10th, 2021. Approximate cost $617. Is there a motion? I'll make the motion to allow him to go to training. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Amber, discussion?
Yes, I would like to discuss. It seems funny that is he going to quarantine himself for 14 days after going to that conference? I mean, he don't come to the meetings here, but yet he can go to a conference out of county.
That could be possible, or it could be possible that he's had his vaccines by that time too.
You wouldn't have both shots by then.
unless he's already had them, maybe.
They might have, I don't know.
Do
I
we
mean,
know how many people are going to this conference?
I don't know.
I get, Mr. Chairman.
But
I guess I'm somewhat in agreement with Bill. I mean, we haven't been sending anybody to any conferences. We haven't been, they haven't been coming to the meetings, which we're masking up, but yet we're gonna go spend 3 days in the Dells at one of the largest water parks there are. I struggle with that.
Okay, the only thing I know is, you know, that where these conferences are held, it's not in the water park area. It's
Right,
in a
right.
separate,
It's a very large
Conference area.
Conference area. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. I mean, the size of them is very large, and I get that. But is there 25 people there? Is there 200 people there? Is there 500?
Even like the housekeepers cleaning, in between break times and things like that.
mhm.
And then, like I said, when he gets back, that's a small, we closed the building up because we didn't want people coming in for taxes and that, because we were worried about more or less the whole staff. He's in that small office in that area. I don't see it. I'm sorry.
I don't feel comfortable with it either.
Well, I mean, and you're right, he's not here to defend or make any announcements as to one way or the
Yeah.
other. It's a little difficult for me to interject when I have no idea either what the thoughts were or what the procedures are. I mean, if we had this question, would have been nice if, when you went through the packets, we had the opportunity to ask him to explain it, which would have been a whole lot better.
I do know that he's considering driving every day rather than staying there due to, just so there is less risk. I know he mentioned that, so.
But he
Because he
doesn't
has
have that
cross-
down.
He put it on there just for a worst case scenario, but he's considering driving, so he wants to kind of wait and see.
So what do
And
you
then the
do?
meals.
Book the nights and then?
No, he said
then
he didn't book it
cancel?
yet. He was gonna wait until next
I
week to book it.
really,
And then like the 9 meals, he was already covering that, if he was driving back and forth.
wish meals would be still, you're driving, I get that, but I really, again, I wish he would have came tonight to understand, because it
I'm
is,
sure he would have if he knew that there was concerns.
if it was next month.
Nobody that had their packet, apparently,
I didn't,
I did.
I did not.
so it would have been nice if we could have resolved this for him, but, I mean, obviously, I made the motion to a second, and if it dies, it's gonna die. I guess that's the long and short of it. But he's been to these conferences, and I understand.
Oh, yeah, and it's nothing about the conference.
Right.
I think that, my personal opinion is that he's came back with good information, and it sounds like it's been a good conference, but with everything going on.
Well, would you be comfortable if he had a test after he was back?
No.
Before he came to work? Yeah, I'd like to recognize you, yes. I did recognize you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You didn't understand?
I thought you said you didn't recognize me
I
yet.
said
Yep.
I would recognize you.
Mask on.
Anyway, just to let you know, at one time there was a meeting held out there and we all got its finger shook at us for having that meeting out in the garage. And telling us that we should not have had that meeting, if you remember.
No,
And-
what meeting was that?
No, I think it was for the big thing out at the golf course or
Yes,
something.
yes, we did. Then after I talked with the county health department lady and explained the procedure, she said, okay. So I mean, yes, the finger was shook when it was announced that there was gonna be this meeting, and somebody said there was gonna be Godzilla amount of people there, but as it turned out, I guess we were safe.
I believe in training, and we have a lot on the county board. It's all virtual training or by WebEx or whatever, so I'm voting no against this.
All right, the motion was made, second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. I'm an aye. Anybody opposed?
No.
4 opposed?
3.
3. Okay, I didn't quite hear you. Sorry.
Amber, were you a yay or a nay?
She was
No, I'm 4.
3-2. Fails.
And again, I just want to note I have nothing against the conference or the training, it's just this pandemic and again, lack of information.
All right, moving on to item number 8. Brenda Mountain, Bob was asked to look into which services would be the best for us to sell the truck with. Brindle is one of the larger one that sells the most trucks. He recommended that. There's a 10% service fee for the sale of it. So he did put messages out to the chiefs associations from Portage County, Adams County, and the Chiefs Association North Central Region, to all those to see if there was any interest in the truck, and no interest was generated. So I guess our option is to put it on the auction. He prefers, as he stated, the Wisconsin surplus auction, they sell the trucks, but
Yeah,
you don't,
we know the history.
you'll get less for it than you will from Brindle, even paying a fee.
I guess I'm gonna make a motion here to go with the Brindle Mountain Fire Apparatus, to try to sell that fire truck.
Motion by Dan, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Bill. Any more discussion?
Just a question, is this, I'm not familiar with this company or the selling of fire trucks. I guess
Mhm.
we've had just the one fire truck since I've been on the board. So the incentive, I just want to make sure, the greater the incentive that a company gets, it has a tendency to try to sell it at a higher price, you know, for us to prosper from it also.
Mm-hmm.
Are these percentages for the compensation like average, or is that?
He checked, he had another company that he was looking at too, and they pretty much mirrored the same
They did?
thing.
And it looks to me, if we read that line 1, the greater of 10% of the sale price or $500 if the subject apparatus is sold for less than $125,000.
Mhm.
See that?
So the minimum they're gonna get is 500,
Yeah.
so,
I have a
go ahead.
Yeah, so, I'm surprised that couldn't find somebody closer. I mean, this is out of Alabama. Union Grove, Alabama.
Well, the truck isn't going anywhere, it's gonna stay here. You
Well,
understand
I
that.
know, but selling, I just wonder how they do that.
I don't know, but there's not a whole lot of
Yeah.
fire apparatus
Salespeople,
jockeys,
yeah.
is what it is. It's more or less a jockey. And, you know, I guess I did talk with Bob a couple times, and he really pushed with the local departments and that, anybody. And I know they put out their feelers to other departments, and he didn't even get a bite.
I'm surprised that that's like a small community like Bancroft, an unincorporated, basically village. You know, that they got theirs through a firm like this one.
Yeah, I'm surprised too that we didn't at least get a bite or an inquiry or something, so. But
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I am an aye, any opposed?
I think
Motion
the
carried.
airport should buy it.
Well, we might now, we'll bid on it, huh?
Yeah?
There you go.
All right, so that was 9, consider all possible action on joining with Port Edwards and Saratoga for a chip sealing, crack filling, line painting project on Town Line Road. Doug took a look at that with Doug from Saratoga, and both of them indicated they thought it would be best if we did to put the first chip seal on it now, get some crack filler in it, and then obviously reline it, because the lining job that went on it was very poor. That was done in late October,
Yeah, how long?
and it
4
didn't.
years is this?
This is 6 years,
6 years already?
yeah. Time flies when we're having fun, Patty.
Wow.
It
So-
doesn't seem like six.
About what it is $35,000 per mile, 36, 35 to 40 there. And you got your crack filling, and I don't know, they have that pretty much for a foot. So you probably have about $130,000 or $140,000 total project. If I remember right, when we did it, we were at 42% of the cost of that road project. And Saratoga was the same, and then Port Edwards was the balance. So, I mean, obviously, we'd have to firm those numbers up. We'd have to do this on a bid cycle so that we do it, but we could go ahead and do it now. I didn't bring this to the road committee because it's too early for us to be looking at the roads, but the idea came up from Doug. He said it should be something we should look at. I did have a conversation with the village administrator from Port Edwards, and he said they are meeting on it tonight and would have his recommendation.
Just a ballpark figure, they're probably looking like for around $50,000, huh? From 120, if we have 40%,
Yeah, somewhere there.
somewhere in that
Yeah.
range.
And that's what we spent last year on crack filling, or two projects that reached 50,000.
Mhm.
We did 100,000.
Okay.
So I wouldn't expect to do any more.
So that'd totally be coming out of the budgeted road expense then?
Right.
maintenance.
Yep, road maintenance.
Mhm. Did we have a motion?
No.
No, okay, is there a
Do we need one? No motion to,
motion to proceed to?
yeah, I'll make a
to go
motion
ahead
to
and seek-
proceed and
seek-
to
seek
get
bids
some-
on it?
seek bids and get a final estimate or final cost.
I'll second that. Are we gonna decide who, or how does that work as far as
Well-
who bids?
Well, they put it out for bids.
Yeah, we'll put
right?
it out for bids,
Oh,
and
okay.
whether it gets put
Okay.
out by Grand Rapids, Port Edwards, or
That's what I meant,
Saratoga,
like, who
really
is
doesn't
gonna
matter. Saratoga did the project the first time. I mean, and they
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
still do that. So I mean, we could find somebody, we could discuss that among them,
Okay.
who wants to.
I
Or we
second.
can put it out as a joint bid or something.
Okay.
So in this, I think this is recently, I don't think a good job was done the last time, and I think it was done so late in the year for some of this stuff. And was there problems with who was in charge of what? And
No, the total project was ran by Saratoga. The painting was put on in October, and
Fail.
it was too late.
Well, there's gonna be painting on the new too, right?
Right, we would have to repaint it, that's,
But it wouldn't be in the end of October, I think it was too cold, it didn't adhere, right? If I remember right?
that's
And
what
we
they,
redid it once
Mhm.
since then,
Yeah,
so this
and
would be
they-
like the second time
Mhm.
of being
Yeah.
repainted.
But definitely something that, we gotta maintain that road.
Mm-hmm.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, anybody opposed? No opposed. Consider possible action on video recording options for the town of Grand Rapids. Recently, had conversations with the city as to, we've been funding them with a $1,000 payment to them, and they've been providing recording services. And they actually, when part of the discussion was there, they said, would you be willing to pay the operator directly? And we had roughly some internal conversations of doing that already, and it basically boils down to is the city would still allow us to use their equipment if we choose. Pay directly currently, who is Art, or anybody after him if some reason there is, and they would upload the media to the YouTube and everything as they've done in the past for us. So basically, they want to really get out of the additional payment. They have two people there, and if they don't have to try to get his pay once a year, It's easier for them, so they said go, and I talked with the mayor too about that first too, and he said they don't have a problem with.
So ultimately, what do they want to stop doing, the city?
We,
I mean, I understand they
we
want.
pay them and then they have to pay vouchers out to him, and it'd be easier knowing that the town is it's just a transferring of funds. It'd be easier for the town just to pay the
Oh, I
voucher
see. That's
directly to,
ultimately
he
what they
submitted an
want.
invoice to us, and you have that proposal in front of you for the same fee which we're getting paid. Go ahead, Bill.
I went over and talked to the guy over at there, and he did not know that we give $75 basically for a meeting. He did not know
No, he
any
didn't
of
know
it.
that. When I first talked to him, he had no recollection that they were getting fees from us.
So,
They couldn't even find it where the payment was. I had asked Lisa to provide the copy, or not Lisa, it was Amy, gave him a copy of the check. He said, oh. So obviously they're,
I've been fighting for that for 5 years.
go ahead, finish your thought, Bill. Sorry to
So-
interrupt you.
when we did it ourselves we used to pay $70, and we would call up, and we would go over there, and they would have to have the money right at, you mentioned his name and the other people that
Jim
were involved.
Walsh.
Yeah, and the other people. If we wanted to record a meeting, we had to go over there, pay them the $70, and then they would send somebody. And then we would have to pay for the disc. You know, or we wouldn't have to, we would get a free disc for it. And that's the way I thought it was going to be, because remember we thought, we talked and said, maybe we'll get some high school students to do that and pay them, you know? And I'm just shocked that he did not know that we give that money and we get, what is it, 12 plus 3 or something like that?
14 meetings.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, it's just that the long and short of it, Bill, is they changed managers 3 times since the previous manager went to Marshfield, and I don't think anybody really knows exactly what's going on, and so I'd like to have a motion come forward that we
Is there,
continue with the service, have Art do it at a fee of $75 and retroact it to this meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dan, is there a second? Second by Amber, any more discussion?
yes. So when we paid them, did we pay them this time of the year?
Yes.
We paid them $1,000?
We paid them the first checks that we cut in January.
Okay, so now we're gonna pay it again?
No, we're not.
Hasn't been paid yet this
It
year.
hasn't been paid yet.
Oh, okay.
And we're
That
now
was my
gonna
question.
revert to the process of paying by voucher request.
Yeah,
So do we have to do 1099s and,
Yeah.
and that with them
Yeah.
at the end of the year? And-
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other discussion? And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Anybody opposed? No opposed.
Thank you for what you do back there, too.
Yes, thank you very much.
Just so
We
I
do
understand, I sent the paperwork in, and my request was that I do a meeting, I send an invoice afterwards.
Yep.
And that's pretty well the way it's understood, I think.
If you can email me an
Okay.
invoice every
Alright.
month.
so
Yeah.
is he considered an
Yeah.
employee?
And
Not an-
No, he's
No.
an
Independent contractor.
I am using all my own equipment, so if this quits tonight, I gotta buy my own camera, so.
Well, and that's something that I wanted to get into at some point in time with our board, about purchasing our own and have the good equipment. Because at some point in time, we may want to go to Facebook Live, you know what I mean?
Just to let you know, the microphone that didn't work.
Still doesn't work?
Somebody didn't screw the bottom end tight enough. I had it over at River Cities Access for about 3 months, and then I had took it to the city, to the county, and before I left the courthouse, they had it fixed. So, it's working.
All right, December vouchers. Any conversation to be had on those?
So, I had some questions on, questions here. So I noticed on this last, invoice listing, everyone seems to be turning in mileage, the employees are. And so why are we not utilizing the, vehicles, the Tahoe instead of that?
It's the same thing with board members. Most of the board members that go to meetings charge mileages rather than taking the Tahoe.
I don't.
I don't.
I do.
I don't.
So, the thing of it is that the vehicle, it's not like they're leaving from home to go and do something. They're leaving from this building where it's parked and going somewhere. So, it's either we get rid of it or they start utilizing it, because I think it's ridiculous. I mean, we're not talking a whole lot of money here, but that's the reason why we have that vehicle.
We can make it a little more clear that we wanted to.
The other reason is a liability issue. I mean, if they were in an accident or whatever, yeah, they're in their own vehicle, but boy,
I know, what a mess that would be.
I'd much rather have it in ours.
And then another question I had was, for the tire recycling, was this tires that were picked up out of the ditches again? Or were they our own tires for changing that we recycled?
We had some tractor tires, I know.
Okay,
I don't think I saw a pile of
okay, I just was
road-
wondering if they
road
were.
tires, I don't believe. But,
Yeah. I didn't know if we were having problems with finding them in the ditches again.
oh, yeah, well, that's ongoing, but I can ask Rick. I'm sure this is just the one pickup for the year. We don't
Okay,
we don't
yeah,
generate enough tires to
right.
go there.
And then I see that, and maybe I missed it, I don't know how long this has been going on, but we have two services for the cellular. I thought we were all under US Cellular. And
No,
then-
we're
Then
under
it's Verizon.
We're under
Yeah.
Verizon and UScellular. The Verizon is
It's
primarily the cellular service for the radios.
Oh, that's.
And
that.
there's, I believe Mel's phone is on that and Bob's phone is on it because
Mm-hmm.
it's actually cheaper than US Cellular. So we have two phones left on it, which is mine's and Rick's on US Cellular.
Okay,
And as mine goes and Rick's goes, we'll switch to US Cellular because they have the nationwide contract now.
mhm,
And the service for US Cellular versus Verizon is better on the south end of the town
Okay.
where we had trouble. That's where
Are we still under contract with?
there is no actual contract.
There.
It's just the governmental rate and we can
Oh.
come and go
Oh, really?
anytime you want.
Okay.
So there's,
Because wasn't there a phone that the police used? There was like
they do have
a single,
yeah, they do have which is what we call the car phone, and that goes from shift to shift, goes
Yeah.
out with that one, and that's one number, that's also Verizon too,
okay.
because that one failed too.
Is that, so that's on the plan? we-
Right, right.
Okay. I know at one time it was on its own or something, wasn't it, or?
It was, it's all on the same plan now, and when we went to the Verizon, the phones were free, and then there was actually another $200 credit we got, so we had a ton of credits coming from them
Nice.
to switch over to them. And at some point in time, we got two more phones to do.
okay. And then one last question, the Wells Fargo copier, is that the last one?
Wells Fargo isn't the copier, that is the lease for our server, so that's,
Oh,
and
it
that's
says
an ongoing. one.
monthly copier printer lease. That was on page 8, on the very bottom. That's what I was,
Oh, that probably just still says it because that's always the copier and printer used to be under that. That's the server lease.
Oh,
The copier and printer were under Bauer fines,
okay.
and then will now be under EOJ, so.
When does that do that?
I want to get through W-2s, so as soon as I can print W-2s and all my year end, then I'm going to give them the go-ahead to switch.
Is that, like, question, leasing that server, did we ever look at purchasing it?
When you guys
We
made the
did.
decision, you chose to lease.
Was it?
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, I don't know what the cost was, I don't. recall.
Well, I think that the thing that it was, if we leased it, and if it failed, we just lease another one.
They bring us another one.
Instead of buying this and you get a 3-month warranty and then 4 months it fails.
Yep.
Then they were out, because we looked very close at that den
Okay,
when we did that.
okay.
And then can you, do you have any information in regards to that fire truck clutch that we spent
Yeah,
$10,835 on?
it had to replace it, and it had to be the factory part, and there was one in California, that's where it came from, I believe.
Okay,
Could
and that
not,
was all
could not
budgeted?
retrofit it, they could not retrofit it with anything else.
Okay, and this was a budgeted item?
Right, that was
Okay.
budgeted in
Okay.
last year's budget.
All right, thank
I
you.
think it was budgeted for 9,400 or something like that, and
Yep.
Okay.
there might have been a little more with it. Anything else? Okay, we're done with the vouchers. Did we have any license applications?
Yep.
We do. Why don't you go ahead and read them for the giggles and,
We actually just have one for Sky Hacker for jammers for 1 year.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 1-year license for Sky Hacker
Hacker?
for jammers.
Jammers.
I'll second.
motion Dan, second Patty, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, anybody opposed?
Notice I read all the names too.
Yeah, you did well.
Yeah, thank you.
Monthly reports from committees. Public Works, we're busy picking up Christmas trees.
Oh, yeah.
We had trouble with one of the plows, the middle truck, fuel pump went out of it and we had to replace the fuel pump. That same truck, the hydraulic fluid tank sprung leaks. They tried to patch it, not successful. They did find one tank in the United States, seriously, and have it in that's back in service. One of the plow trucks was in a slight accident where somebody that was not fully capable of driving in their condition hit the rim of one of the tires and put a small little bend in the rim and just the rim ruining, and that had to get placed, and that's under an accident report, and that person is liable. Other than that, obviously no snow plowing to be going on, just a couple times they've been out, so
Yeah,
everything's pretty quiet for a change.
we were over on budget last year for ice and
Yeah, maybe we'll,
plowing, so maybe we'll balance out
maybe
this
we'll
year.
back up here. If I move across, the airport commission, pretty quiet. Jet fuel over the last 2 months has actually only been about 15 or 1,200, 1,300 gallons, about half of what it was last year. We've had a lot of traffic that is calling into us and saying they're coming in, and then they cancel their flights just the day before.
Due to weather, or you have?
No, we don't know. We speculate that maybe it's people coming in to be looking at businesses, and they decide either to come a different day or they don't know, but otherwise, we met multiple times with the Wood County Health Department, and we'll be working with them on some programs for them when they get the time to do vaccinations. They'll be using the main hangar to do that during the cold weather season. It's large enough to be able to get a lot of people in and out of there.
Will the vehicles be driving in and
Yes.
out too?
Yes.
They won't be leaving their vehicle, in other words.
They probably will not leave their vehicle, they'll just open the doors, get their shots, and they'll circle back out through the other overhead door and go out into a holding area where they have to park for 15 minutes, and then they'll be released.
Wow.
So, Airport Commission thought it was a good public use of the building, and we're gonna help them out as much as we can.
But they only granted it till May.
We did a timetable of May, simply because we don't know when we're gonna get busy. I did offer them some other options where it could be, where we could use it, or the Airport Commission may say, go ahead, continue to use it. But, all right, so where are we? I just shuffled my paper, sorry.
Recycling and solid waste.
I don't know why I shuffled them. Here they. All right, we're recycling solid waste and water.
Okay, recycling, on the 18th, it's on Monday, the 18th, is hopefully, we hope to have a meeting at, the time has to be either from, it's probably going to be at 7 o'clock at night. And we're going to be meeting with Door Horse Recycling and get something together for that. And then we have some other issues on recycling and all what's going on with recycling in the town. And it's just amazing the reports we get every day and, you know, during the week. So, and water, and just to let you know that the groundwater group that meets with the 6 counties, we haven't met for 3 months on that one, but we have met on the Citizens Groundwater Committee, and we've also met with other people like the Packers. That's the people down at, the Packers are the people down at, what's the name of that spillway down south here? Pete Noel, that's the Pete Noel. And also, and our seed committee, as that's Conservation, Education, Economic Development. Wood County has now got a resolution, not a resolution, it's going to be a thing on the ballot in April on clean water. We're the first county to do it. And we have other counties that are also putting it on their ballot for clean water. And it passed the county board by 18 to 1 vote to have it on that resolution. And the water issues, you know, with people's, of course, has died down quite a bit about basement water and flooding and stuff like that, so.
Bill, I'll get you the latest numbers from our town well site.
Yeah.
I don't have them, but I've got the email from the folks at Dewar, and I'll get an updated level for you, what it is. But I can tell you, by looking at the Lions Pond, it is probably down 3 foot
Yeah.
from its height. And we haven't had any rain or snow to speak of, so I'm gonna imagine it's continuing well. So is there any other questions for anybody from recycling, solid waste, water? Not, we'll move to Patty for the Plan Commission. You met yesterday. eh?
Yeah, we met yesterday. It was, as always, a very good meeting. We had one shed approval or carport approval. A new business starting on the O'Connor building on the corner of, right across the street from Tractor Supply, the
Z, Griffin
Z,
Avenue.
yeah, Z and A Street. One business relocation, they were previously next door to Sears and now they're on A Street. And then we went through our comprehensive plan. We did the 7th element so far, so I think there's 2 more elements to do. And this element was the intergovernmental agreements, how the town works with other entities around the area, so it was a good meeting.
Any questions? Public buildings?
Heat's still on, things nobody seems to have any issue so far.
I think we appropriated up to $10,000 for some preliminary understanding of how we could expand this building, was that correct?
Yes, engineering
We
and,
could,
yep.
I think we have the plans here at Altman that had the design on it along with whoever it was, now Altman, is that do we want to just talk in conversation with them, ask them if he'd come and visit with you guys and kick it around, or what's your thoughts? Because
I don't know, what do you guys think?
at some point in time, we should see if it's feasible to just add a stall onto here, because that would solve their issues with being able to put their boat in the RRV, everything in that drive-through, open on both ends type of building, just to add on. But obviously, I don't have any idea on costs, but
Yeah, we can definitely talk about it.
legislative, we haven't met yet. I know we got a few items to get on there, and we'll get going on it relatively soon.
If we do have one of those, and I know one of the things that came up was the vacation carryover schedule.
Right.
And I would like to meet sooner and later on that, so the employees have as much time as possible so they know about this, so. to
Yeah, I
use
think
their
we probably should
vacations.
get it sometime in February,
And so they know, what's coming.
any other questions? Public safety, haven't had any reason to meet. Okay. Economic development, I know Amber was sitting in on the Rapids finance and property. You want to just give an update as what that went on?
Sure. So there is some recommendations to consider with the agreement, but essentially next steps are they're going to write up a license agreement for us to review, and then they'll review too, and when both parties approve, then we can move forward with discussions on how to move forward with the connection of the trails to Wazecha.
And it would be licensing as far as they caught bits and pieces, but as far as how the trail would be utilized, is that pretty much, or what?
I guess we can't really talk too much about it because they really didn't give the language, but
Yeah.
basically what we asked them for and what their discussion was, well, we give you a 20-year or a 50-year, I think even one of them said 50-year, a right to use it with a note, and obviously they'd have to have something in there if for reason they needed to use it for their water or sewer service. Obviously they'd have to have the right to be able to do that. So I think there's give and takes there. There was a few things that they suggested they wanted to write into what was needed, and then they also wanted to make sure that the snowmobile club had their accesses saved.
So what they really come down to is they want something from us. And I think since she was challenged really by the attorney for the city, that I think we should get Nick involved in this.
Well, I have no doubt, Bill.
Well, it didn't sound like it at the meeting. It didn't sound like Nick was going to be involved at all, because when the city council members or the committee members had discussed this, she's the one that come out with a license agreement, that's what she would want. So that's what they motion, is a license agreement or something that the town of Grand Rapids come up with. So I think Nick should get involved right now.
No, you're right, Bill, but they have to tell us what they want. We have to look at it and says, it looks okay, but could you do this? I mean, that's the way it probably would go on. Nick has had the information on this from start, so he's following us along on this. He's been kept in loop with the emails and that, so he's well aware of the process. And once the city attorney gets back to Amber or however it is, we'll have to take a look, see where it is.
Yeah, my understanding, they just approved that they were gonna write this up, and they didn't approve it, and we didn't approve it, it's just being written up.
So who's actually gonna start writing it up? We are or they are?
They,
Oh, they are,
yeah,
okay,
they're the licensee,
Yeah.
so,
okay.
licensor. But anyway, they have to generate what their requests are, then we can,
And they have to get back to the snowmobile club because they have an agreement with them.
yeah,
if she
but they
can
can't find it. And then, what was the other part of it? Well, it still needs to go to common council. It would have to go after that to their final. Good job, Amber. Personnel, Dan, anything?
No, we did have our working agreements, all were signed by the employees. And I will get them to all of you to sign. I apologize, I had them in a black binder and I grabbed the wrong one when I walked off. So you'll see them in the mailbox, in the mail.
Okay. Bill, any idea what the WTA is gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to several of the town boards and they just as soon not have it, you know. What we're trying to, I'm gonna try to work out with with the town's association itself, the state organization, is if we could have a meeting of the town, all the town chairmans. Because we gotta elect a vice chair, and we can't do anything because there's no executive committee. So we might work on that, but for sure, we're gonna try to have one in March.
Okay. I think we'll all be safe by then. Anything else? Reports of individual board members, Patty,
I don't have anything.
and
I guess I just got one thing, and it goes back to the budget again, and I'm gonna bring it up. It's that Leopold system.
It was in the budget, I put a request in that we review the process procedure. Apparently, it was signed already. This board knew nothing about it. This board knew nothing about the grants that were coming due, that we had to fast track this. The Police and Fire Commission haven't met in over a year, but they're the ones who are working with the attorney on this. And again, Arnie, I agree with you on 95% of the stuff that we do here as a board. I think this was done poorly, and I think it was something that Mel and, I don't know if you decided on, and it's a double standard. This whole board was not included in that. And I really,
if I could just be a little defensive, Dan, and I don't want to get into a argument, because we as a board work together. I sign a lot of contracts.
yeah,
I sign a lot of contracts that come due in January. This was a contract that started 1st of January. There was the urgency to get it done because he has to have this process done. He's had 2 weeks of classes that he's been on this, and we need to get that one policy in place so that we don't lose the grant opportunity. We have to have that into the state by the 31st of this month, so we have 3 weeks to get it done. So it had to get started, but I would have signed it if we had garage door installations and it was there. We'd have signed that contract just like we do every other year. William, anything?
Oh, yes, I attended last night the Plan Commission meeting, and there was some discussion on items about a person not getting a permit to tear a building down, and now it's on the market. And I just think that's, and I ask, who do you report this to? And somebody says, well, you should report this to the police. I disagree with that. I think this is a Plan Commission problem about this, is the fact that these things are done and the Plan Commission don't know anything about it. You know, I'm used to having a on-board building inspector. That's it, but I just wish the Plan Commission would consider the 2 items that were brought up in public comment.
Would you explain to me a little more detail? You have me totally lost as to what's going on? A building was torn down without a permit, but then it was okay? Is that what
Yeah,
you're?
so let me just back up a little bit. There was a building that apparently, there was a home and a garage on a parcel of property. And the home was raised and now sits a garage on a parcel of property. So yes, indeed, I checked into it and got information on it now, that the house was raised, and the company that raised the house was supposed to get the building permit. Unbeknown to the owner of that home, did not know that the permit was not gotten. But it was agreed between the owner and the company that raised the building, that the company was supposed to get the permit, but did not. So now I'm looking into seeing if indeed they are still going to go retro and get the permit so that the paperwork of it is correct.
Usually what I understand we do in those cases where a permit isn't taken out, and if, for example, if a home starts, it's double the fee. So obviously they should be assessed double the fee.
Right.
Now,
So that's
now
where
you're
we're
saying
at
that
right now.
nobody reported it, or?
No, and I disagree with the fact that the person responsible for it is the person you hired to do it. No, it's not. That's not what our zoning ordinance says. It's up to the contractor. It's up to the homeowner to see that the proper permits are taken out. And this homeowner used to be a former chairperson of the Plan Commission.
Well, that doesn't negate him from doing anything.
Well, I'm just
I
saying.
mean, he's gotta go follow the rules.
When I asked the question to the cop, you gotta let the police department know. I don't think that's right. I think this is planning commission, this is the problem in the planning commission, is to take these up. And then make the plan right, so if they come up again, you know exactly what to do.
Anything else?
No.
William?
No.
Amber?
Okay.
Lisa, you got anything?
Nope.
I don't have anything else. We'll go into future agenda items. Anything specifically?
Oh, you skipped public input.
I did, public input. Again, I'm sorry, 15 public input. And people wishing to address the board limited to 2 minutes each. Public limited to no more than 60 minutes. Anybody in the audience wish to speak? Hearing none, we'll move to 16 future agenda items now. Anything specifically, we'll be generating that as we go. Item 17, Grand Rapids Town Board move into closed session. Wisconsin Stats 1985, Print 1, Print C. Consider employment, promotion, compensation, performance evaluation data for any public employees of which the government of Nevada has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility for the purpose of discussing hazardous behavior for employees. And do we
I'll make
want
a
to
motion.
announce the second one too at the same time?
Sure,
I think we can, can't we?
I would say yes.
Pursuant to Ascension 1985, Print 2, Wisconsin Stats Town Board will, no, that's a return. I'm sorry, I thought there was a second
Well,
item. Okay, all right.
I made a
Roll
motion.
call vote, and the motion is made by Dan, seconded by
Patty,
Patty. Roll call vote.
I,
Dan? William?
Nay.
Amber?
Hi.
Arnie? We are in closed session. Thank you very much.